you are new here, my name is Nailah Abdullah. I am a toxic relationship coach with a career background in mental health therapy. And here on this channel, we talk about how to heal, recover, move on, rebuild yourself from toxic and narcissistic relationships. So the question I'm going to answer for you today is there, let me adjust this a bit. There we go. Is there any way to show a narcissist their narcissistic ways and make them see it? Now, this is a common question I get because I know the feeling of wanting someone that you love, that you were in a relationship with, to just get it, right? To just get it. You want to see them do better. You want to see the relationship work. You know, even if the relationship doesn't work, at least you want them to understand where you're coming from, the pain that you feel. You want them to understand. So I completely get this question. So I'm going to answer that for you. But before I answer it, I want to ask you a question. What are your expectations? Okay? What do you expect from showing them? You say, is there any way to show a narcissist their narcissistic ways and make them see it? What are your expectations from it? You see, it is so important for us to make sure that our emotions don't run our lives, right? And yes, we are human beings. We have emotions. They play a role. I get that. I'm not a robot, right? I get it. But we have to make sure that our emotions are not the only thing that's governing the way that we function, the way that we allow people to treat us, the way that we approach relationships. We have to keep things, right, balanced out. We can't just use all emotions. We also have to use logic. So as you are asking this question, is there any way I can let this person know, this toxic and narcissistic person, see their narcissistic ways, show it to them and make them see it? What do you want out of that? Because from an emotional standpoint, usually we want them to understand, we want them to apologize, we want them to change and be better, right? We want them to acknowledge the pain that they have put us through, right? Those are the things that we want, right? But I ask you to think about, what are your expectations? Because the chances are you may not get that. You see, when we're dealing with relationships, when we're dealing with other people, the only thing we can control is ourselves. We cannot control how people respond to us. We can only control how we react to them, right? And when we want to assert ourselves or bring something to someone, that is all we can control. We can't control how they respond to that. So I want you to brace yourself that you may not get the response that you were looking for. Okay, so I want you to ask yourself, and it may not be something you can answer right away, but take some time to have some personal time with yourself to say, okay, yes, I want to show them their ways. I want them to see it, but what do I want out of that? And how will I handle it if I don't get the response that I want to get, right? Okay, so once you go through that, here's the answer to your question. Is there any way to show a narcissist their narcissistic ways and make them see it? Yes, you can show them their ways. And yes, they will see it, right? You can say, this is what you did. This is what you said to me. This is how you hurt me. They will see it. They will hear you. You can show it to them and they will see it. But will they take responsibility for it? No, right? Even if they pretend to, it will not be genuine. It's usually just a strategy, a manipulative strategy to shut you up, right? To please you, satisfy you so you can stop talking about it, right? And just say, okay, yes, I see what you mean. Yes, I should have done better. But even that you may not get out of them because these people don't have the capacity to really self-reflect. They don't have the desire to self-reflect. It goes against their nature, okay? You have to look at these people as very different, right? They have a very different personality. It's like saying to a snake, you bit me. Do you see what you did? Yeah, the snake know it bit you, but it doesn't care that it bit you. That's its nature, right? It's not going to feel any remorse about it. That's just how it lives, right? You come in its path and it's going to bite you. That is how these people function. They have a different mindset, right? So can you show it to them and will they see it? Yes and yes. You can show it to them and yes, they will see it, but they may not necessarily take responsibility for it, right? And if they pretend to, it's not genuine. right? And they won't have any desire to change, right? Usually when you bring something to someone, it's because you want them to see it, to take responsibility and then have the aha moment to say, okay, I want to do better. I'm going to do better, right? They don't have the desire to change. Why? I'm not just saying that, out of just being here, just giving bad news. I just want you to see the reality of these people, because if you are on a mission, and if you're here watching this, you are on a mission to healing and rebuilding yourself. Healing and rebuilding yourself also involves understanding how other people function, right? You don't have to be an expert in narcissism, but you do have to understand that not everyone functions the same. Not everyone thinks the same. Not everyone wants to be better people. Not everyone wants to respect other people, even though they may talk about it. People with these type of narcissistic traits, they're very good at, pretending to be good people, and they can teach other people how to be good people, right? They know all the morals and values, but they don't live by it, right? They don't have the desire to be that way because it's too far from what feels innate for them, what feels natural for them, right? Like I gave the example of the snake. The snake is not going to try to stop biting. That's its nature. You can talk to the snake until you're blue in the face. It's not going to change because that is against its nature. Okay? And the third point I want you to understand when you ask the question, is there any way to show a narcissist their narcissistic ways and to make them see it, is I want you to understand how important acceptance is in your healing and your well-being. What I just shared with you about how they think, how they function, the fact that they have no desire to change and to be better people, it goes against their nature, right? Understand that. Once you understand it, you have to accept it. You see, I see a lot of times people who come to me or ask me questions, they are still in the trenches of pain from these types of people in relationships because they are refusing to accept people for who they are. It doesn't mean it won't hurt. It doesn't mean you may not cry tears, right? Why do people say that? What else you gonna cry other than tears, right? Anyway, it doesn't mean you won't cry tears. However, you have to accept it, because if you don't, you are going to now be self-sabotaging, right? Self-sabotaging is doing something towards yourself when you know better. If you don't know better, you're just naive, right? But when you know better, but you're still refusing to accept people for who they are, now you are self-sabotaging and you are keeping yourself there. Even if you're not in the relationship anymore, you are still putting yourself through the pain because you're fighting. A lot of times people say, I can't get over him. It's been a month. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. It's been 2 years. But a lot of it has to come with not accepting that this person is a sick person. You see, a lot of times with mental illness, people think, schizophrenia and these other types of diagnoses. But personality disorder is a real diagnosis, right? If you don't know anything about the mental health field, as mental health professionals, we have a book, right, that is used to diagnose different types of disorders. Personality disorders is in that. Now, I know a lot of times when people call someone narcissistic, it's not because they've actually been to a mental health professional and got diagnosed, right? But they see traits in them. So for me, I don't need a piece of paper to tell me something about you. If I see a pattern of behavior, I know you're not safe. You're not healthy for me, right? I'm not here to judge you and say everything else, but I know what's good for me and what's not good for me. It's like milk. I love milk. I love everything dairy. Some people can drink milk. Some people can't. I'm one of those that can't. It's not that milk is bad. It's just that is not good for me. And I have to accept that, right? I don't like to. I still eat ice cream sometimes, right? But that is the reality of it. And it's the same thing with anything in life, right? It's not about really trying to figure out. I don't have to study milk and pull up, Google milk and the buildup of milk and all of that and how what's in it and how it's made and the different cows. I just know it's not good for me. No matter what, whether it's organic or not, it's not good for me. And I'm better off focusing on that than trying to figure everything else out about milk. I just need to accept it's not good for me. And that is the same thing when we are dealing with toxic or narcissistic people. Acceptance is key. They're not capable of love. They're not capable of accountability, right? Of being accountable for their actions and the way that they treat people. They don't have the desire to change because they enjoy seeing other people broken. They enjoy knowing that there's something that they can say or do to get you down, to make you feel bad, to make you feel not enough. It sounds crazy, it sounds weird, but these people exist. So to answer your question, although I've answered it already, just to sum it up, is there any way to show a narcissist their narcissistic ways and make them see it? Yes, you can show them. Yes, they will see it, but there will not be anything good out of it. And as a side note, not only will there not be anything good out of it, not anything you want, which is for them to acknowledge it, right? Accept, acknowledge their behavior, apologize for it. Not only will you not get that, but what could happen is that it backfires on you, because now you have opened up another door for them to trigger you, to upset you, right? It could turn into an argument. It could turn into them pointing the finger and saying, no, you're the problem. You're the narcissist. Now you're left confused. Well, am I the narcissist? Yeah, I'm not perfect. Yeah, I do this sometimes in the relationship, or I don't do that right in the relationship. And now you're starting to wonder, are you the problem, right? Now you're opening a whole nother door. So my advice, I don't believe these are the people that you want to bring anything to, because they don't have the desire to change. You know, something about my personality, and I think it's healthy, but you can choose for yourself. I am careful about where I put my energy. The older I get, the more I see how our time is limited. Time flies. We're already in 2025. If you're watching this video in the present time, right? Time flies. I don't have time to put into anything that's not going to reap the benefits that I want, right? And yes, in some cases you don't know what's going to come out of what. But if I know for sure, you know, I have a 1-year-old. I know I can't have certain conversations with that 1-year-old, right? I'm here to raise him and discipline him and coach him into a young boy, a young teenager, a young man. But at 1 year old, I can't have certain in-depth conversations with him, even though I would like to, right? If he's having a tantrum and I can explain to him different things, I would love to, right? But it's not just about what I want. It's about what makes sense. He doesn't have the capacity to understand what I'm explaining to him. So I have to do things that is appropriate for his age. And that is the same thing with these types of people. People who have narcissistic traits or narcissists, toxic traits, manipulative traits. You don't want to waste your time. It will make you feel good in the moment. And that's why I started off this conversation about, you know, emotions, not letting your emotions govern your life, govern your decisions, because emotions can have you all over the place. Okay? Our emotions, there's nothing wrong with it. It's part of who we are. But if we let it control us, it will have us all over the place, right? Making a lot of mistakes, making a lot of bad decisions, because our emotions is how we feel. I feel. So in the moment, it's going to feel good to tell somebody, hey, this is what I see, right? This is your behavior. These are the things that you do. Do you see it, right? But what's going to come out of it? Right? I'm going to be frustrated because they're not going to give me the response that I want. And I'm going to open the door for more opportunities for them to trigger me, to upset me, or even if they ignore it, that's still triggering, right? Or to cause me to be confused and make me think maybe I'm the problem, right? So my overall advice is not worth going into this with them. If you are in a toxic and narcissistic relationship, and you recognize that person to be toxic or narcissistic, focus on you. Get yourself away from them. Get the support you need to get away from them, and get the support that you need to heal and to rebuild yourself. And healing is not just letting time pass by. Healing is not just the relationship is over and voila, I'm healing because time is passing. No, it is about doing the work on yourself, understanding who you were, what type of person you were that got into that relationship, right? Why did you ignore some of the signs? How did you miss some of the signs? What do you need to educate yourself on to make sure you don't miss anything else again, so you don't end up in a situation like that again? But confronting them and showing them their ways and trying to get them to see it is going to leave you more frustrated than if you didn't. So don't even waste your time. That's my advice for you today. Listen, I hope that this was helpful for you. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can see when I come on. I come on quite often for the new year of 2025. I get a lot of questions, and my goal for this year is to make sure that I answer as many as possible to guide you through this process. No one deserves to go through this alone. I met with someone today and she said, how did you get into this? I love what you do. How did you get into this? And the reason I got into this is because, yes, I'm a mental health professional. Yes, I'm a toxic relationship coach, but I went into coaching in this particular field because I was in my own situation. I had my own narcissistic romantic relationship for 10 years. I then had to deal with narcissistic family members, and I know the pain that this comes along with, and no one should be going through this alone. So if you are in a space like that, go ahead and subscribe so you can get text message, so you can get all the support and guidance that you need. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, or you can email me. A lot of people tend to email me directly. Go ahead and do that. The email address should be in the description box below. And just remember that God made it for us to thrive in all areas of our lives. So even if you are doing well in work, well in career, well in motherhood, well in whatever it is, don't feel like I'm doing good here, so I have to settle for this here. We are meant to thrive in all areas of our lives. All right, y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next one.